So here's something really strange happening right now in 2025. On one hand, artificial intelligence is creating an economic boom of, well, historic proportions. But at the same time, anxiety about the future of work is completely through the roof. This is the great AI paradox, and we're going to unpack it together.
First, let's just wrap our heads around the numbers. In just the first 7 months of this year, AI-related companies have created a staggering $2.25 trillion in wealth. Yeah, that's trillion with a T. This is so much money that it's actually propping up household confidence and even consumer spending. But, that's only half the story.
And here it is, the heart of the paradox. All that wealth, all that growth, and yet for the first time since 2020, more CEOs expect to shrink their workforce than grow it. It just doesn't seem to add up, right? So where is all that money going, and why isn't it creating more jobs? Let's dig in.
To really get what's going on, you just gotta follow the money. And believe me, the biggest companies on the planet are placing an absolutely massive bet on AI. But it might not be the kind of bet that pays off for everyone. I mean, just look at the scale of this investment. We're talking about tech giants projected to spend $361 billion this year alone, mostly on AI infrastructure. This is a colossal bet on AI driving future profits. But notice the key word there, infrastructure. The money's going into machines and data centers, not necessarily people. And this slide? This is the direct result of that spending. Back in 2020, most leaders were all about growing their teams. Fast forward to today, and that feeling has completely flipped. It really signals this fundamental shift where AI is seen as the path to productivity, maybe even as a substitute for new hires.
So here's the big takeaway from all this. We can't just assume anymore that when a company does well, it automatically means more jobs. That historical connection, it's getting weaker. A company's stock price going up no longer guarantees a rising tide for the job market, and that's a pretty unsettling new reality for a lot of us.
Okay, so let's shift gears. Let's get out of the boardroom and look at how all this is affecting the people actually doing the work. Because behind all the big numbers, there's a really complex human story playing out. You hop on social media, on a platform like X, and you just see this raw, unfiltered anxiety. I mean, here's a developer who feels totally outmatched, basically saying the tool is just plain better and faster. It's a feeling you see popping up in a lot of technical fields right now. But then, almost in the same breath, you see the complete opposite take. Here's another experienced developer saying, hold on, this thing is far from perfect. They argue it needs a ton of expert guidance, comparing it to a junior employee who needs constant supervision. It just goes to show you, the debate over what AI can actually do is still very much alive.
Now, this is where it gets really fascinating. The youngest people in the workforce, Gen Z, are the ones using AI the most, and yet, a staggering 62% of them are hiding it from their bosses. Why on earth would they do that? Well, it points to this really powerful psychological thing that's bubbling up in the workplace.
People are starting to call it AI shame. It's basically this gap between what's expected and what's real. Employees feel this intense pressure to use AI to get more done, but nobody is formally training them, so they're teaching themselves and they're hiding it, worried they'll be judged for leaning on it too much or for not using it the right way.
And these numbers right here tell you exactly why this is happening. You've got 68% of young workers feeling the pressure to boost their output, but less than 4% are getting any real training. It's this massive pressure cooker with almost no support, and it's creating this weird culture of anxiety and secrecy.
So, with all this fear and shame floating around, are we all just headed for mass unemployment? Well, the data suggests something a bit more nuanced is going on. It seems to be less about wholesale replacement and more about a fundamental reshaping of what work even is.
According to some deep research from Goldman Sachs, if you look at the entire U.S. workforce, only about 2.5% of jobs are at a high risk of being completely displaced by AI. Now, that is a really important number because it totally shifts the conversation away from some kind of robot takeover and more towards how our jobs are going to change.
And here's kind of how that breaks down. Yeah, some jobs, especially those built on really predictable, data-heavy tasks like accounting, they're at a higher risk. But a much, much larger group of jobs, especially creative and technical ones like design and development, they're not being replaced. They're being augmented. AI is becoming a tool, a powerful one, but not a replacement.
Think about a graphic designer. An AI can generate 100 images in a few minutes. It's brilliant at doing the thing, but it has no intention. It doesn't get the why. So the designer's job is evolving from being the hands-on producer to more of a strategic director, or what some are calling an agent boss, who tells the AI what to do to achieve a creative vision.
And check out this twist. It's totally counterintuitive. While AI can spit out simple code super fast, one recent study found it actually made experienced developers almost 20% slower on complex projects. And why? Because real-world work isn't just a simple task. It takes system-level thinking, teamwork, and understanding nuance, all things AI is still pretty bad at. The human in the loop is still critical. So if AI is going to handle more and more of the technical grunt work, what's left for us humans to do? Well, this is where our advantage really comes into play. The skills that are becoming the most valuable are, funny enough, the ones that you just can't code.
This quote from a new Autodesk report just says it all. As the technical part of AI becomes a given, the ability to guide it with good judgment, with creativity, with strategic design, that's what companies are desperate for. It's not about what the tool can do on its own, it's about what you can do with the tool.
And these are the skills we're talking about. It's the creative thinking to ask the right questions in the first place, and the critical thinking to know when an AI is giving you a garbage answer. It's the ethical reasoning to use these powerful tools responsibly, and the empathy to connect with people in a way an algorithm never could. These are the skills that will last. Former Labor Secretary Robert Reich puts it perfectly, I think. He basically says that while manufacturing jobs and even knowledge worker jobs face automation, it's the caring jobs that are the most resilient. Think about it. Nurses, teachers, therapists. These roles depend on a level of human connection and empathy that AI just can't touch.
Which kind of leaves us with this final thought to chew on. In a world that's getting flooded with artificial answers, maybe our most valuable contribution is our ability to ask truly human questions, to bring curiosity, context, and our own intention to the table. What do you think? Let us know. Thanks for watching.